monkey chased a weasel. The monkey saw to solid fun. Pop goes the weasel, and then he falls.
Welcome y'all to Goetic 72 Tarot, and today's reading we're going to be doing on a celebrity that has been rumored for years, decades actually, to actually be dead and replaced. And this reading is going to be done on Paul McCartney. Now, before I do the reading, I wanted to go back and look at all the evidence that they have saying that, well, to back this claim up, and why they think this. People, fans. Okay. Now, it starts out saying that he died on November the 9th of 1966 in a car wreck coming back home from the studio. And that the reason why that they decided to cover his death up is because they were popular in England starting out. Apparently, they had just come through some hardship, and the Beatles was there, turned their spirits around, and they didn't want the mass hysteria from it. The Beatles had just become popular. So, right after that, they held a contest for a Paul McCartney lookalike. A man by the name of William Shears Campbell was declared the winner. Right after that, he is reported missing from Canada and is never seen or heard from again. All the hidden messages in the songs and the albums. The first album that starts out with all these clues, hints, and stuff is the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club. And it is starting with the cover. The cover depicts a funeral, everyone looking at Paul. It shows someone holding a hand, an open palm over Paul's head, which is symbolizing death. Paul is also the only member with a black instrument. Black is also significant with death. If you hold up a mirror to the bass drum on the album cover, it reveals a clue. It says, the first part of it has a number 1, plus the word 1, stands for the 11th month, which is November. Then there is an IX, the Roman numeral, for the number 9. Paul died on November the 9th. And to reinforce it, the words he died are spelled out next to it where it says the dates. Alright, now the bottom of the album cover seems to be a grave. There are flowers all over it spelling out Beatles next to a left-handed guitar. This raised many eyebrows because Paul was the only left-handed member of the band. Now there's a creepy doll covered in blood. Next to the doll is a driving glove, which is also covered in blood. If you look real close, you can easily be missed as a small toy car sitting on the doll's knee. Now this is to symbolize the car wreck. When you open up the record, there's a picture of the 4 band members. The patch on Paul's shoulder says OPD, which means officially pronounced dead. That's England's version of our DOA, dead on arrival. When you look at the back of the album, all the Beatles are facing forward except for Paul. He has his back towards us. George has his finger pointing to a lyric from the song She's Leaving Home. It shows Wednesday morning at 5 a.m. 5 o'clock is the time of Paul's death. November the 9th of 66 did indeed fall on a Wednesday. This is all close. It makes me say, I don't know how you could think otherwise. Okay, where is this at? Wait just a second here. Next is the hidden lyrics. It starts with the song, "With a Little Help from My Friends," when it ends. They say that you can hear Now, I'm not listening to any of the music parts, so I can't attest to this, but now I have seen and I'm looking at it right now, the album cover. It says people claim that they can hear the Beatles sing Billy Shears, which was, the replacement. The Magical Mystery Tour. When that was released, all the band members are wearing white except for Paul. He's dressed in black. He's standing in a crucified position. If you turn the album cover upside down, it looks like a phone number. Let's see. When you open up the album, there are 24 pages filled with secret messages. There are several pictures of Paul with hands over his head, which of course means death. On page 3, you can find Paul sitting on a desk that says, "I was." In another photo, you see Paul. He's the only one not wearing shoes. His shoes are in the picture, but covered in blood. They are also located right over page 13, which is an unlucky number, and it represents an unfortunate fate. Another picture is all the Beatles wearing red flowers on their shirts, except for Paul, who's wearing a black flower, which is also an indication of death. Now, on the I Am the Walrus, there's a cryptic message alluding to the death of Oswald, Shakespeare's King Lear. And if you play the track backward, you hear people reciting Paul's dead, ha ha, over and over again. A walrus is also symbolic to death. Let's see here. John Lennon sings in the song Glass Onion. I told you about the walrus and me, man. You know we're as close as can be. And well, here's another clue for you all. The walrus was Paul. Let's see. Strawberry Fields Forever. The second track is Strawberry Fields Forever. If you listen, you can hear people say, John's voice, I buried Paul. Now I did hear that. I have heard that. On the White Album, it's plain white, but there's a poster inside. If you open up the poster, it's a picture of Billy Shears. Now, this is a picture before he had his alleged plastic surgery, so he can't be confused as Paul for this one. The song Glass Onion holds other clues. Glass onion literally means a coffin with a glass lid. At the end of the song, I'm So Tired, and you play the track backwards, the gibberish or the mumbling at the end of it, it says John is saying, Paul is dead, man. Miss him, miss him. It's all in the backwards lyrics. If you listen to the beginning of Revolution 9 backwards, you can clearly hear the words, Turn me on, dead man. Now, for the Abbey Road, it's the iconic album cover. It is all them walking across the street on a crosswalk, and it's walking in a way, the way that the crosswalk is set up, the position it's in London is walking away from a cemetery. So you see John in the lead wearing white with his long hair, and that resembles Christ. Next is Ringo, who's wearing black like an undertaker. Behind Ringo is Paul. He's walking out of step. He's barefoot, which also represents a corpse. He's holding a cigarette in his right hand, which is showing that he's right-handed, whereas Paul was left-handed. Last in the line is George, wearing all jeans, which signifies a gravedigger. Now, the Beetle in the background, the Volkswagen Beetle, the license plate says 28IF, or 28IF, because Paul would have been 28 that year. On the back of the album, there are dots. By connecting them, they form the number 3 right above the Beatles, making it say 3 Beatles. And last but not least, in March of 2016, Ringo Starr gave an interview talking about how Paul died in a car crash, and they replaced him. So, I believe this conspiracy is true. I do. This is too much to contribute to coincidences if anybody believes in them, which I don't. So, we are going to ask the cards. Ooh, they're already coming out. Speak to me. Talk to me. I can get out on here. Alright. I would like to ask if Paul McCartney and the conspiracy theory, that he died in a car wreck, the original Paul McCartney, November the 9th of 1966 is true, and if he was replaced. Paul McCartney, the original. And now listen, in this article of Ringo Starr talking about how he was replaced and stuff, and that it was by a William Shears or a Billy Shears. The MI15 or whatever from London is supposedly was doing, I had opened an investigation because he had been knighted by Queen Elizabeth as Sir Paul McCartney. And if he indeed is not Sir Paul McCartney and is Sir William Shears, then that presents a problem to the monarchy, I assume. I'm not British, so I don't know. Okay, now the first card is going to tell us what is true of this situation. What is true when it's concerning if Paul McCartney died in a car wreck on November the 9th, 1966, and was replaced. And it's the Page of Wands in reverse position, which brings delays. It's negative and rather relentless. Holds fast to the goals. Won't let a subject drop. Shows stubbornness and the inability to listen to others' opinions. They say there was a fight in the studio. It's just why Paul got in his car and raced out of there and then lost control of the car. Had a crash. It says the page reversed is also a fickle personality, not following through with what you initiate. So that, to me, pretty much coincides with what Ringo Starr gave in his interview, talking about the fight that they had. How he was mad and how mad that Paul was. Storming out. Getting in his car and revving up his engine. He had a sports car, little two-door sports car. Didn't have a back seat to it, so... that sounds like it explains that, or is describing that perfectly. Alright, now the next card is going to tell what or who was the driving force behind replacing Paul, and that is going to be the Five of Wands. Well, if he is dead, which I'm going to say yes, because of it describing accurately the very first card off the draw being the fight that they had, and I'd actually forgot about that. Now, the Five of Wands shows young men at odds with one another. a symbol of ego and passion. They all have their own take on a situation. They're not acting in harmony as a group and appear to be getting nowhere. Each is absorbed in his own game. So it's competition is the message of the card. Fiery opinions, lack of agreements, misunderstandings, particularly in work matters. Which again is backing up the Page of Pentacles reversed. That's pretty in line with that. The next one is going to show us what is or what was the agenda or purpose in replacing Paul, and not just saying, hey, he got killed in a car wreck. That card is the Ten of Cups. And the Ten of Cups key meanings is prosperity, joy, family, and contentment. It reveals the benefits of love and security. Predicts great happiness. Shows peace and harmony. Togetherness being a strength. So, it's just what they said the reasoning was. The reason why that they did this was because Britain had to come through a hard time, a hardship of some sort. And this was the boost of the morale for their people. So this is more and more confirming that yes, that's a true statement that he was killed and replaced. The next question it's going to answer is going to be, will this or did this cause great harm or great lesson? And that is the Emperor in reverse. So the Emperor in reverse has a meaning of someone power hungry and excessive. Ooh, greed. Not knowing where to draw the line and using excessive force of persuasion to get what you want. It's just showing. It's just a card that indicates potentially domineering individuals who are run by their egos. So this was a great lesson for whoever decided that this was going to happen like this. Either that, or it's describing the person's characteristics or traits that made this decision. Alright, the next one is going to answer, what must be done to put a stop to this or to bring the truth to light? And that is going to be the King of Swords. And the King of Swords is in the reversed position. Reversed position has a meaning of destructiveness, being put under unreasonable pressure to produce results. No room for arguments or personal interpretations. So, to bring this to light, the truth is whoever. I don't want to say whoever. I guess it would be Paul McCartney to get him to admit to the truth. It's going to have to be putting unreasonable pressure on him to produce results. So that's how the truth would come out. Now, the next card is going to reveal what must be accepted as unchangeable. It's unchangeable of this whole situation. And that card is the Hanged Man. And the Hanged Man is hanging around. Things that don't move fast. Oh. Waiting and delays. So, all these years, what's it been, like 30-some years? All this waiting and delays, that's something that you can't change. It's unchangeable. Very clear and concise answer when it comes to that. Alright, now the last card is going to show us the outcome of this whole situation, and that is going to be the Page of Pentacles, and it is in a reversed position, which reversed it means unwelcome news. It applies to a person with a sense of entitlement, some underhanded activities. Wow, that's talking about. I'm not going to say Paul McCartney because it's clearly that's not him. It's Billy Shears. So this Billy Shears with a sense of entitlement is going to receive some unwelcome news, which I'm thinking is going to go back to this, which would be the unreasonable amount of pressure to produce results. So, ladies and gentlemen, there is your answer. Clear as can be. Paul McCartney was replaced in 1966 with a Billy Shears and passed off as the actual Paul McCartney as if nothing happened. Sweet. So there you have it. There is a truth when it comes to Paul McCartney. Thank you for spending your time listening to this read. I hope you enjoyed it. And as always, this is the Truth Confederacy signing off.